What we're going to do now is look at hazardous waste disposal. Now, mainly in this section, we're going to be looking at sharps disposal. Now, sharps are a particular hazard because if you're looking at something like a hypodermic needle, it's got a core inside which can hold blood and bodily fluids. So it's really important we dispose of them carefully, because what we don't want to be doing is leaving anything lying around so it can get spike someone else, and then that would effectively be injecting someone else's blood into someone. Now, when you're disposing of stuff, you need to be really, really careful, because first off, if you're having sharps, you can't put them into plastic bags or bin bags or anything like that, even if they are hazard waste bags, because they're just going to go straight through the side. So sharps we'd always dispose of in a solid plastic container, because this container can then be disposed of, depending on what type of hazardous waste is in here. They're usually disposed of by incineration. Now, the plastic bags are good for other things, and they come in different colours and designs, depending on what the product is you're going to be disposing of. So if it's dressings or tissues and things like that, it'll be different maybe from other types of waste. What we've done in the download area of the course is added a chart that tells you all of the different colours, what they're used for, and what sort of waste goes inside them. So if we look now just back on the sharps, so this is just a typical sharps box here. What you've got here is a line, which is the maximum fill length. You don't want to be going over that, because you want to make sure that you can get everything in there. And also with these sharps boxes, never be tempted to push down into them or shake them to try and get more stuff in them. Once it gets to that line, they need to be sealed off and you need to get a new one. There's a label on the front which you can identify where the sharps bin is. So for example, if it's in a hospital setting, you might write the hospital and the ward on there. Also the date that it was started and the date that it's finished. So you've got a maximum period of time there. So depending on the policies of where you're working, it may well be that all sharps bins are sealed off over a set length of time. So it's important to know when the bin was started. So all that data goes on there, and you can have a little initial or a person's name followed by the date it was actually sealed up. Other things on here, information about the particular box, what it actually has inside it, what's allowed to be inside it. Now, the designs of all these boxes are quite different. There's much larger ones, and there's big ones and more like large buckets, depending on what you're doing. So if you're doing work with a lot of needles, maybe taking bloods, you're going to need larger containers than you would do if it's just an occasional use. So this type of thing is a typical smaller unit. Same with this one here, they're just different designs. If you're trying to dispose of syringes with needles attached to them and you can't remove the needle, you're going to need something a lot longer, which is where you have this type of box to put them in. In the tops, you have the hole where the product goes straight into, and also if you do need to uncap a needle, this is what this side is here. It's a very safe way of removing a needle, so it just drops into the box itself. To seal them, close the lid over and then just click it shut, and then obviously mark on it to say it's been used. This type here is slightly different. This is really for a single use type thing. If you've got a complete syringe, you put it in there, and they also work quite well for putting auto injectors and things like that in, because with an auto injector, you've still got a needle in there. Although it's covered once it's been used, it is still potentially a risk. You could put one of those in here to dispose of that, close it off, and it works in the same way. Other ones here, just slightly different. With this in the lid, you've got a piece of plastic which just goes down when you're actually putting the item in, and it closes off. It's just weighted, so it's always closed, and it's only open when you literally just pop it in to put the sharp in there. These are sort of some of the range. There's lots of different shapes and sizes. So if you're getting sharps boxes, always make sure that you're getting ones fit for purpose, they've got the right volume to hold in there. Are you holding complete syringes and needles, or are you just disposing the needles? But these boxes will be also good for any other application. So for example, glass vials or anything that is a potential hazardous substance as a sharp, or if you're using dressings and things like that, you typically use the bags. And again, all of these things will be color coded.